in one more minute. No, we can probably start now. Alrighty. So thank you everybody for checking this video out. If you're watching this from our YouTube channel, I'm going to go ahead and share our YouTube channel to this. Bear with me one moment so I can gather it. Let me make sure that doesn't. Here's here is the link so that everybody can follow our webinars that we do. I'm going to try to, I'm doing this every week on a Wednesday, 12 Pacific time. So you feel free to join if you have the bandwidth. If not, feel free to catch these on our playlist. Feel free to subscribe and set up notifications to when we send out a new one. So let me go ahead and share my screen. This is our page where you can obviously subscribe and set up notifications to get the updates. But if you pay attention to your notifications, you'll see that I post notifications and I send out emails to our groups to where I notify you of the link so that you guys can join if you guys have the bandwidth. Let me see if there it is. So you'll see that this little thing pops up. You can take this and put it in the browser, or you can put it into Zoom and it should take you to our webinar. So what did I want to talk today with everybody is templates and action plans. I wanted to show you guys where our libraries are to some preloaded action plans that you can definitely use for your own. So you can use our action plans and I'll take you to that. We can start with action plans first. You can use, so this is obviously a bunch created in our test account. However, if you were looking for our library, that is under import action plans. So by giving that a click, this is the default folder. However, you can go to holidays, lead generation, and nurture. These are a couple of categories that we have. And so if you were looking for something to use for happy holidays, you could definitely use this email. Has a graphic, has a nice little message, smart tags, your signature. You can definitely edit this. You can put in a different photo if you'd like, even if you have something from yourself or something that you took with a photographer. Definitely make this your own. That way people can identify with you. And so this is a happy holidays one. This is Christmas and New Year. So let's take a look at what this one looks like. Nice little message, same thing, a little bit of verbiage. But this is definitely so that you can make your own. Now, if you wanted to import any of these to your own, all you have to do is click this little import action plan down at the bottom. So by doing that, you'll see that if you don't have, it's taking a bit to load. However, if you don't have a folder that says holidays in your action plans, let me just see if I have a folder that says holidays. One moment. Here we go. And I do. And actually I have these three, but let me just take a look. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and delete this just to prove a point. And did it delete the folder? It didn't delete the folder. Let me see if we can delete the folder. We can. All right, so if you're in action plans, right? And well, importing action plans, and you're going to import something from one of these specific folders and you don't have that folder. If you go ahead and let's say we preview and we import it, the system is going to go ahead and also create you a holiday folder, and you will find that the action plan is there. So if you're new, you most likely won't have a lead gen folder or a nurture folder. But if you import it, you may say to yourself, well, why isn't it here in my default? And it's because you have to go to your folders, look at the holiday one, and now you will. And so if you did import more, right? So let's import this Thanksgiving one. It's going to go into your holiday folder, right? So unless you move it around and you edit that, and you can go by editing the basics, and you can switch which folder you want it to appear in. So if you wanted this to be in your default, That's all that you have to do. And then when you come to your default folder, you now have it in your default. So for people that didn't know that this existed, this does. And that's where if you are importing things, that's where they're going. So just keep an eye out for that. You can create your own folders. I suggest that you do. That way you can make not only those action plans your own, but you can organize your folders as you wish. So with that said, now you have the action plan, and of course you can use it, right? You can go in and set a trigger for it. Then you can monitor, see who's scheduled. Obviously, this might be for a date specific for Thanksgiving or the week of, and then you can kind of take a look at how things are running. And over here, you'll get warnings and you'll get statistics. So you can always follow up to see if people are engaging or if the material is getting to them. You'll see that stuff in statistics. Let's see if it shows. Yep, it shows you emails, text messages, what's been sent. For text messages, what's been delivered. So if it has 2 checks, that means it's been delivered to the phone. So we would just have to assume that they've opened it. With emails, you do see when it is sent and if opened, which is always good to kind of know who's consuming and what kind of penetration you have with your emails and your text messages. So that is in general how to, if you didn't know about this little back button, I'll definitely point it out now. So if you're in an action plan and you need to go back to the default folder where you just were, so that you could look at maybe another action plan, compare them, this little go back button, these 2 little red arrows will move you back to the folder you were. That way you don't always have to go and click action plans and then start over where you were and possibly go to another folder and such. So keep in mind that there is a back button up here in 2 little red arrows. I'll go ahead and show it to you again, these little red arrows. And if you click it, it takes you back to your previous folder. So here you can import action plans. We looked at holidays. We've got some stuff for LeadGen, new lead alerts, seller outreach. This is for a year. So this is, looks like 4 activities. And here you can kind of get the full gist of what the email is. Now, if it's something that you like or you feel that you need to, edit and make your own, feel free to do so. But at least you can go in here, review, see what kind of action plans we have available for you. We got lead follow-up. So these are action plans that you will definitely be able to utilize. If it's not of your liking, know that you can edit each and every one of them, add other activities, and spice it up as you feel that you need. Looks like we've got some stuff in Spanish for our Spanish speakers. We got some stuff for follow-up on open houses, website buyer lead conversion. So definitely there's a lot of information here, a lot of action plans that you could be using that comes part of the service. It's just a matter of going through them, seeing what works with you and your process, and downloading them or importing them and using them. So in the nurture, you can see here stuff for happy birthday messages, wedding anniversaries, up and coming wedding anniversaries, birthday alerts. Looks like this one definitely has a bunch of content here that you can use. We've got some other stuff in Spanish as well, not yet or nurturing. We've got seller post closing. We've got some Zillow stuff. So definitely comb through this and see what you feel that you might be able to utilize, and consider this part of the touches that you do, you know. And in some cases, some people, some industries have low touches, meaning within 8, 10 touches. But like for real estate, you know, if you've never met this person, if you're trying to reach out to them, it could take almost 16 to 17 touches for someone to even kind of get back to you and let you know that they're in the market or not in the market. So definitely know that. and anticipate that and try to build something that does some consistent touches to kind of see where these people at, because you never know at what moment in which from you just doing a nice little generic follow-up that someone might reach out to you. I've seen it. I've got a bunch of agents that I work with that they've been able to through their activities prove that it's true. So let me go ahead and let somebody in. And so this is definitely what I wanted to point people to. Let me see if David, how you doing, David?
Good afternoon. Doing good. How about yourself?
Doing well, doing well. Glad to see that you could show up. What we're talking today is action plans,
Oh, okay.
where a lot of people don't know that this exists, but it's importing action plans. So we've got these three folders: holidays, lead gen, and nurture. And
Mm-hmm.
as you can see, there is quite a bit of action plans at your disposal. And so what I suggest people to do is to, when they have some moments, comb through these, see what might work with their procedures, and then
Mm-hmm.
import them and work them into their daily, into their contacts. And then hopefully through some of these action plans being utilized on your groups or on your contacts, you might be able to engage some people. And obviously we know what that leads to. And I guess every agent wants to be able to do that. And the best thing about drip campaigns or action plans is that one has to do consistent touches to kind of really engage that. And it might, might go moments or it might go months silent customers, but all of a sudden a simple follow-up based on his current climate could definitely get you a call and somebody asking questions and then possibly needing your services.
Yes.
So that's one thing I wanted to point out was our import action plan under action plans. And I also wanted to talk a little bit about message templates as well, how people can create folders, create content to things in which they're consistently already, I'm assuming agents already have maybe a group of 20, 25 emails that they're always sending the same thing to people. So the best thing, well, the beautiful thing about Field Notes is that you can track some of that activity. I would never disclose it. I think I've told that to you. Never tell anybody that that you've got the all-seeing eye and that you can
Mm-hmm.
see what get opened or not. But
Mm-hmm.
definitely keep it as a ace in the pocket so that if you're calling and following up with people, you know that they had a chance to at least open it. And if they did, you can kind of, try to maybe talk about some of the things and see if that email had resonated with them. Plus, if you can see that activity and you send out, let's say, a group of people, um, let's say an email about God knows what, you'll be able to follow up, see of those group of people who was sent, who opened. It'll give you a date. If that was me, I would be starting with the first people that have opened. Those are the first people on my list to call and to follow up. The rest would get in the second line of calls. Um, I would still call everybody, but definitely I would go after the people that have opened um, stuff first. And then so as you can see here, you can create many different, you know, folders. And then in a moment, when we get done showcasing this, I'll go ahead and show you how you can access these folders and access these action plans from the contact page. But another thing I wanted to share with everybody is our library. So in our library, essentially I have built a couple of kind of, let's say, instruction manuals to build yourself a 33 touch program. And David, are you familiar with the 33 touch program?
No, I'm not.
So it kind of says it in its title, 33 touch program. So
Mm-hmm.
what it is 33 touches throughout the year, right? And here and in this email, it outlines all of those different 33 touches that you can basically um, put together, and you can create these emails and ship them out to these people, whether if it's in an action plan or whether if you're just putting them together one by one, doing a couple touches a month, that'll probably get you around to 33 touches, right? But like, and so these are simple ideas that you could possibly, you know, take into ChatGPT or Google and get some more insight how to build these kinds of things. However, a monthly market update, you know, you can sort your list of people by zip codes. You can sort them by phone numbers, like area codes as well. And then now you have different areas, different demographics. And of course, if you know, have a little bit of insight in different areas or group everybody into all into one group, you could send monthly emails, something similar to like a newsletter regarding market trends, local property sales data, stuff like that. Any type of information that you have access to, which sometimes is privileged information, you can then share that with other people. What I feel is when they get a couple of these from you in a month, in a year, you know, you're showcasing yourself, your mind, what you're thinking about, what's trending. And if you're a seasoned real estate agent, then you most likely have insight that others don't. So why not showcase it? And I have seen when agents showcase their knowledge, people respect it. And by respecting it, I have seen people hold conversations with people. And then all of a sudden, hey, by the way, help me listing this home and get this thing sold. And then at the end of the day, that's what you wanted, right? And it's a
Yes.
lead that you didn't literally pay for. You just produced some content. And through those interactions, people validated it. Also your character, also you know, your full essence. And then they get behind it, and kind of that's how people kind of do business nowadays. I don't see a lot of people just right off the bat, oh, first agent I met, I'm just going to go with. Sometimes they want to feel you out. And with the current market, with the buyers and the buyer side, I know that things have changed. And so, you know, that can be a little bit difficult now, opposed to before. Could have been a little bit more fish in the bucket. But now buyers are kind of, you know, shopping around. And I feel that, you know, that's going to come to some win, some loss. But at the end of the day, as long as you showcase your skills, people should be able to get behind you and, you know, move forward with it. But here we have 33 different ideas, right, to build content so that you can then either put an action plan together or put a folder together in which you're building in content and you're emailing it, text messaging it, right? So I'm a heavy believer of creating emails and then creating kind of like a text message version of that email so that you can then send them obviously the full body email with all the information. It can be, you know, nice and beautiful. But also if you're referencing any type of PDFs or any type of information, if you set up something like that and you do it as a text message, well, then now people can quickly, easily access the information right on their phones, which who knows? They could be at the doctor's office, they could be sitting there not doing nothing, and boom, now they have an action, or now they have a text message that has drawn their attention to the content, and then they can obviously digest it, watch it, and, you know, either just see it, move on, or spark their interest, cause a reason for them to reach out to you and discuss some things. But definitely doing, you know, using that email text message is, I've seen the benefit. People definitely engaged and have thanked people. Oh, thanks for sending me this text message. I'll watch it later. Things like that. And so, and it's also a good way to see if you've got good phone numbers, see if you can see things are getting delivered, right? That kind of thing. But definitely there's a lot of different things. Now, not everything is, not all 33, I would say somebody has to, but if you're at least doing one touch a month, that would make it 12 touches. That's better than nothing, right?
For sure.
So Birthday wishes, that's one touch. If you did a monthly newsletter, okay, now we've got 12 months in a year, so now there's 13 touches. If you've got data on them as to they're like a past customer, home anniversaries, that's 13, no, 14 now. So you can see how with just a newsletter and birthday and home anniversaries, you're already into 14 touches. Um, if you're staying on trends and things that are happening in the environment or in the, well, real estate environment, um, you could definitely share those types of insights. I'm assuming things monthly come up. And so that could be another handful of things that you put together. I truly believe the more content, the better. I don't think it hurts. If you're doing any type of YouTube activities, if you're doing any type of um, TikTok reels, if you're, Instagram, Facebook, if you're doing any of that kind of stuff, you definitely need to be emailing those people to your new videos, sending out text messages. Hey, I just uploaded something, just to kind of point people to it. It's going to help you with the algorithm. You know what I mean? It's going to get people to access your video. If people can, from other means, go to YouTube, find your video and consume it, who knows? You could get a thumbs up, you could get a comment, you could get people sharing. So if you've got a sense of humor, if you've got any insight that I would say is important, and you really don't know until people start to consume your material, and then you'll kind of start to see, okay, people really like this video that I produced that talks about, remodeling, or what are the best things that I would do when purchasing a home that requires some additional work, right?
Mhm.
I think your expertise was flipping. Is that correct?
Yes.
So for you, giving any of your insight to flipping, that could definitely draw people to you, and now you've got something to talk to them about, right? So um, really everybody needs to kind of just sit back, take a you know take a moment and kind of see what they can produce themselves. Let me see my mouse, there it is. And then kind of go through the list, like, so we got home anniversaries, home maintenance tips, community events and news, like these could also be subtopics within a newsletter. So, you know, these are just ideas to help you guys build a true follow-up kind of uh, touch program. The more that you have, I would say the better. I think there was somebody had brought to my attention, they were in a sales CRM, or I guess it was like a sales kind of webinar, and they had some data as to campaigns that were sporadic, so they didn't really have any set days that they would send out content. So let's say in a month, out of the 31 days on average, um, it was, let's say, 15 days out of the month or something like that, opposed to
Yeah.
an action plan, or opposed to a plan, a touch program that is consistent. And they found that people, or the programs that were more frequent and consistent with touches, people would opt out less than the ones that were sporadic here and there every once in a while. So definitely building a schedule to these kinds of things, and then fulfilling it and always sending out content, always kind of keeping people with their belly full, keeps people engaged, right? And if they're not opting out, they're seeing the material one way or the other. Um, and so you never know when life is going to cause them to have to need help of an agent. And if you're showcasing all of your skills, they're going to know what they can call you for. And if they know, then I would assume you have better chances of actually getting that phone call.
Mhm.
So I've seen this work. People have done this real small, just started out kind of with like getting a toe in the water, because it does take time to produce. I'm not saying that any of this is easy, but what I am saying is if you try, you'll see that this will start to get some some movement. And I've seen people, I don't know, I think we started something, I helped coach somebody with like their own touches. I think she put something together about the tax law that was changing. She shipped it out to her group of people. A lawyer got back in touch with her. I think they had like a week of conversations, and then all of a sudden, um, he asked her to list a home for her. So who doesn't want any of that, right? And so a little bit of it, you've got to kind of um, build it and watch that it comes. But here, this is kind of like an instruction manual. Plus these, you can, if you wanted to, you can piece up in, like, copy this, put it into a text document or a Word document, and then go into action plans and either start to be outlining these types of emails that you're going to be creating, or if you want to build them as templates, you can do that as well. Then later on, you can then go into action plans and just drop them in from the template library. You can just drop in the emails that you've created, and then that way build your action plan, which I think is the smartest way. That way you have it as a one-off email, and you have it built into maybe an action plan that you just fire out and let somebody, just kind of simmer and kind of take the content, and then hopefully it gets them in to engage with you, and then you can kind of either move them out of it and have a different type of touch program, more of a consistent follow-up, you know, something a little bit more personal. That could be definitely something. But this is the first folder that has how to outline a 33 touch program. And then it gets into two topics about 8x8s. So you're familiar with 8x8s. I think I've either had that conversation with you or you knew prior, right?
Yes.
So an 8x8, and a lot of this stuff comes from ninja selling itself, right? So these are a lot of concepts that I've seen that I feel that work. If and so the 8x8 essentially is eight, it's a touch every week, 8 weeks. So that's what the 8x8 comes into play. Um, and so what this folder is, so this is for the first stages of buying or selling. And then here it kind of outlines what you might want to possibly do in the first week. So what this is intended for is for you to be in action plans. And I guess we can kind of go to action plans, and you can create a new action plan, name it whatever you'd like, save it. And then when you're going in to build activities, you can basically, if you're going to create an email, check this box, pull it in from your templates. And now you can start, well, you can actually grab it from the library, and then you can put this one in, save it. And now what you're doing is kind of just starting to outline what you're going to be doing in this action plan. So you can build this as emails, text messages, appointments, or to-dos. So that I would leave that up to you. Like if you wanted to set up a series of to-dos, and these are things that you need to do with the customer within that week, this is a real good way to kind of plan your days out, plan what you're going to be doing with people, and have a real structured approach instead of just willy-nilly, just doing it sometimes, doing it here, not doing it there. I've seen people have that kind of approach where it's just organic and they just try to do their best and they get no results. And the second they start putting themselves on a plan, the second they start utilizing action plans to help them get on a plan, they all of a sudden start seeing people get back in touch with them. All of a sudden there's engagement. And what has changed? I would say what has changed is that you have a plan. And by you executing the plan consistently, that is what's delivering the results. So you can do this, you can kind of, right, build it out, structure it with the templates and pulling it from the library. And then you can come back to this, and then you can start truly outlining what it is, what other appointments that you want to set up for yourself, what other list of to-dos that you need to help you in conjunction with your email follow-up or your text messaging follow-up. Like, so this is good to have because you can set up emails and text message to go out so that you're not doing it. But you could also follow up with an appointment to either review the account to kind of see, did they open material? Did they deliver the text? Did anybody reply back to me? And then you can kind of stay on top of it. You can kind of go through your list of to-dos and you can kind of like have something that pushes you back to this contact to stay on top of it to see, maybe after, first couple of days of sending out some material, you've got to follow up for a phone call. So now you're doing that. You can get the person on the phone. You can see if they've received any of their information. They could express to you, hey, I hate getting emails from people. Can you, and then that's a great moment to tell people, hey, sure, no problem. Let me get you out of there. But is text messages fine? Perfect. So now in this category for the contact list, there's a list or there's a category there for preferred communication style. If you haven't already changed it and used it for something else, it'll say preferred communication style. And then you can highlight what it is that and how he wants to get material. And then you can follow through with it. I guess it's just not loading. Let me see if it loads. There it is. And this is what I'm talking about. So these are email, phone, text. You can also create combination of those, but definitely updating this information, having a chance to speak with somebody, letting them know, hey, sorry about that. I'm not going to send you any more emails, but would love to be able to at least communicate with you through text or through email. No, sorry, or phone. Is that okay? And begin to kind of create a relationship with people and see where things are. But so yeah, so this is building an 8x8. I'm not saying that first week one you need to do this. You could kind of go through all of these and kind of jumble them around to your best needs, to what you feel is going to work for you. However, I do think that this is the best order. Now it's just more you elaborate on it. And I wouldn't say in just 1 week, it's just one touch. I would say that in that first week, you have an objective. And in that objective, it is to introduce yourself, right? So that could, depending on how much information you have about yourself and how much stuff that you've already created. So sometimes I feel a lot of people kind of go, oh, now I got to create all this content. Well, if you've got a buyer's packet and a seller's packet, you could definitely work that into this and it's going to help you, right? There's also some other things like sending a video message. I think there's one that talks about social media stalking, right? So you go out, you find those people in the social medias, you befriend them. Hopefully that also tries to get you into their feed. Um, and then that way, maybe they're more engaging through social media than it is email and text. So you really need to kind of feel people out, but this does a really good job of building that all out. And once you have a plan, I would say that you can then start to begin to expect results. But if you don't have a plan, I think it's real hard to kind of expect results from something in which you feel like you're doing something, but it's not calculated, it's not consistent, it's here or there. Then the only thing you can really kind of count on is here or there type of business. You know what I mean? And now currently things are getting that much more tough for agents that people can't survive off of that type of business. You know what I mean? Now they need at least 12 to 15 deals a year consistently throughout the year for them to even kind of say that this is worth my time. So um, wouldn't you believe the same, or am I far off on my assessment, David?
I'm sorry, I had to take a call. I'm sorry, I
Oh, no, no.
jumped.
It was just about consistency and about how people could expect close to nothing if they're not really doing anything consistent or calculated, opposed to somebody that has a plan set up that's consistent, calculated with their approach. Those are the ones that could, definitely count on steady business, but it's also worth their while. You know what I mean? Doing a couple deals a year could be hard to maintain and be an agent with that kind of, you know, record. But if you're consistently getting 15, 20 deals in a year, well, I definitely feel that that comes from like a solid program. You know what I mean? And so
Oh, for sure. Oh, for
that's what I
sure.
was
No
just
doubt.
mentioning.
Yes. Yeah.
So with this other action plan, this 8x8, it is when customers don't engage and they say that they're just looking. So a little bit of a changed up approach when it comes to this. This could come from like your first go around with just trying to, the first stages of buying and selling. Then they may come back to you and give you this kind of, nah, we're not ready yet, or this or that kind of an excuse. Um, or simply not engaging. You might go into a different style of action plan, 8x8, to see if you can then get them to be engaged. And all you want is, a little bit of engagement, kind of just where you can, put the pin in them and see where they're at in the stage. And then you can kind of set up what kind of touches you're going to be doing with somebody, right? So if it's somebody that said to you, we've got horrible credit, stuff like that. I've seen agents that have a series of just emails and text messages, um, action plans that are just talking about credit, tips about credit. I know there's also people that agents that work with specific credit agencies that help build people's credit. I know it comes at a cost, but in some cases, when you get a better score with your credit, you also get better offers and you can get better deals with your mortgage and lending opportunities. And so what I've heard is you could save thousands of dollars by, going through one of those services, fixing your credit, then going out to the lenders, and you'll see that you'll get different options. And hopefully it's saving you money. But um, you know, this is what that's intended for. So if you're able to find out details about people, there could be another reason to have another set of action plans ready for them based on their situations. Um, and then, so that's what this 8x8 is. So these are a little bit similar, but it still allows you to kind of go into the activities and kind of build out and outline how you're going to do it. And then you can kind of begin to go in with fine detail and build in your week 1, your week 2, and that kind of stuff so that you really have a calculated approach with these people. The other one is it's a file, it's a folder that has um, an email that talks about the best ways to get people to refer their family and friends. So when speaking with some agents, they they have said that they do this, but they don't do it calculated. They don't do it. They don't have any type of action plan or even any type of plan at all as to how they're going to do this. They simply just before closing mention it. And I don't think that that's the best thing, especially if you have a system like ours in a CRM that you can utilize. Why not build this into an action plan? Whether if this is an action plan for you so that you're following up with these people, but you could also build this as a front facing to the customer, sending consistent emails, just letting them know that you care, obviously staying in touch. And then that does bring up the 33 touch program. So working in these kind of referral requests within the 33 touch program, I think is also, good to know that people know that the best way that they can appreciate and show you appreciation is by becoming advocates of your services, right? And that really does come from you delivering excellence and really showcasing your skills. When people see that and feel that, and you're also giving them a nice little friendly, consistent reminder, they're going to slowly gear into where when they hear people talking about, oh, you need an agent? Psh, I got this guy, David, for you. He definitely can help you with this and that. And because you've consistently dripped on them and hit them with constant information, you're going to see how that's going to play out. And people are going to be sending you business. And I mean, it only takes that with a couple hundred people of your past clients, you could easily get a couple of people a month reaching out to you sharing details, talking to you, engaging. They might not be ready yet, but it's the first steps of meeting new people, especially coming from a referral from a family, a friend. Sometimes that's golden, you know. Um, I've heard even I've even heard realtors say that those are the best leads, are the ones that come from family and friends. And so I built this to kind of help you guys once again outline an approach to where you guys can definitely, make a plan for this and execute it utilizing the tools, either setting up an action plan that sets up appointment for yourself to follow up, or an action plan or content in the message templates where you're just trickling it out to people. I would say build it into an action plan. If it's going to be the same thing over and over, then why not just program it and set it and forget it? But this is also something that would definitely help kind of keep the consistency and letting the deals kind of roll in on themselves. And then what to do when the 8 weeks are over. So this definitely leads into the 33 touch program. So once you've reached out to them, you've done your 8 weeks. By then, I want to say that you're in the friend zone. And if you're in the friend zone and you're a realtor, that's a good place. That's probably like the only good place a realtor could be, is in the friend zone. Because if you're in the friend zone, when you make suggestions, when you talk to them, you know what I mean? They're going to take it at heart and they're going to definitely do something with that information, opposed to somebody else that doesn't have any time, anything invested. They're most likely going to care. And so getting them into the friend zone is huge. But then after that, um, you got to keep them, you got to keep them hot. You got to keep them simmering, keep them warm. Um, you know, you can plan events, webinars, you can do things on social media to kind of stay active with them. Once you get them out of the 8 weeks, you can kind of then either go follow them or send them a request to sign up to your page or let them know of your page. I would say that if you're doing that within the 8 weeks, in the action plan of the 8x8, if you're working those things in, then this might be something that you don't have to worry about, but it could be something that you check off the list. Like, okay, they're part of my social media. So now it would help you save on the kind of touches that you have to do, because you don't have to kind of do them through a third party. You can just kind of do your touches through your social medias. So it's, in some cases, it's almost like a full-time job just, doing social media. So I know that there's a lot of time and invested to produce that kind of stuff. It would be best to have everybody into one place, but you really have to kind of weigh out, is that the best thing for me based on your type of character and in person? But that is the other folder that discuss a little bit, and I feel that this is all full circle. If you can kind of go through these folders and build something for yourself and then start to utilize it, you're definitely going to start to see results when it comes to um, you doing deals in your real estate. And so if you're a new agent, or even if you're not a new agent, and you've been in this for many, many years, um, I've seen the case where agents have been in the industry, yet they're not calculated and they're not kind of pinpointing their approaches to people. And so it kind of comes off sporadic. And I would say for many years that could have worked for people. But nowadays, with so much technology involved, people really have to start kind of thinking out of the box and kind of build something that's doing things in the background for them, and then things that they have to do personally, share a little bit of the workload, and just really execute. I feel that's my humble opinion. um, and so this is in our template library under the real estate template library. So this is definitely here for everybody to utilize and to make their own. And then in this place as well, you can also create folders and subfolders. So if you have buying folder, and then you have a bunch of topics underneath the buying, you could definitely break that into folders. And then in those folders, you can then have all the content. And I feel that that makes it really easy when you are, and I'll go ahead and showcase how you guys can utilize some of these action plans and template messages from your contact page. And so if you're doing whether a view, right? So if this is cold leads and you just wanted to send out your newsletter to them, here's your list. You can highlight everybody. So now we've got 13 contacts, 13 selected, and now we can go and use our bulk email or bulk text message. And then with this, we can set up email. This is going to let us know, okay, you know, the statuses of some people. This is an email. This person doesn't have an email. That is understood. So let's skip and just kind of continue. Oh, this guy doesn't have an email set up. However, let's see if, let me see if I can just quickly set up my email. What it does is it basically recognizes your account. It'll give you one of these. Once it recognizes you, it signs you into your email. And now you can essentially do with what I showed. So we'll go back to the cold leads. Now we can kind of select everybody again. We can go to the bulk email and text message. We can compose. We can skip this individual that doesn't have an email. So now you can see here, we've got 12 people that we're going to email. We can hit more, go to templates, and here. Now you've got access to your templates. We're going to do a follow-up, or we'll send these people a newsletter. It can be a market report. It can be really what what you've decided to build, and then you can ship it out to everybody by hitting send. And now you've made a touch. From there, you can always come back to this view. You can actually show the text messaging, or depending on if you're sending out just emails, you can have these categories showing. And when you move over, you'll see what was sent in the sense of number, how many emails were sent, and whether if it was received. And then when was the last time? When was this opened? So if you're consistently wanting to do follow-up on these cold leads and kind of, dig through the haystack yourself, you've got analytics right here where this can definitely point you in the right direction, seeing when the last person read something, when a text message was last received. Hopefully you've already been on that, but this will show you when it was received. So this gives you the insight that you need to be doing the type of follow-up, kind of keeping your foot on the neck. But that's just some additional stuff when it comes to, doing the follow-up and that kind of stuff. And then if you wanted to send these people action plans, it's the same thing. You can either use any of your pre-saved views. Let me see if this has anybody. It's got a couple of people. So with this one, if you needed to send out an action plan, all you have to do once again is either select everybody that's on the page or everybody, compare this number with that number, make sure it's obviously the right number that you wanted selected, and then this little thunderbolt will take you to your folders, to all your folders. Now you can also search by folder. So if you know that it's a holiday topic and that's what you wanted to send out to everybody, you can go to holidays, find it quicker. Now you basically can select it. Here you can adjust the date. You can adjust the date here and the time. So if you wanted this to show up at a specific time, you could do that. And you can do it anytime in the future. Do keep an eye out for this. This is saying that of your 149, it's going to trigger on 150. So this falls within that limit. But if you needed to scale this up to 300, you could. This is intended to, so sometimes when people do these things, they've got thousands of people in their system. They're not paying attention. They've got a free Google account and they're sending out thousands of emails of the same thing. That's pretty much a good way to kind of get your email account kind of blocked. So to avoid that, we've put these little guardrails to kind of slow down and not allow customers to shoot themselves in the foot. So definitely keep an eye out for this little button. But once you've select, now you can basically select the date and time for the happy holidays wish, and then you can schedule the trigger. So, and if you had an action plan, let's go ahead and select an action plan that has multiple. This one's got 4 activities. So with this one, not only can you dictate how many people need to get it, but you can actually stagger these, and you can go to the calendar and say, okay, well, this is a Wednesday, perfect. The time is fine. This is the 16th. Okay, still within the week. This is the 17th. All right, so now we're getting into the weekend. Did this fall on Saturdays? So you may not like that. You may want stuff to fall just only during the weekday. So here you can kind of make that adjustment. You can make a time adjustment. Or if you needed to take out any of the communications in sequence, you can. And just a matter of hitting the trash can. Now, if you, I guess, hit the trash can and you need to bring it back, you just have to kind of close and go back, and then you'll see everything back to normal. But this is how you would activate action plans on specific groups, either through your filters or, just going through all your contacts and selecting the ones that, let's say, you've just added some new contacts. And so as you can see, the new stuff kind of stays up at the top. So let's say you really kind of haven't done anything with your first, top leads. So here you go. Now you can basically gather them that way, go to your action plan that you have for your new leads and get those started, right? And so this is what I wanted to show everybody was our library for action plans and our library for text messages, well, for templated messages. But yeah, and then so David, do you have any questions? And what we kind of saw, is it pretty much straightforward?
Pretty much. The question I would have is, my assistant and I were talking about it today, is trying to get really crack down like what you're talking about, a decent system, because if you don't have one, you're going everywhere. And I got a kind of good handful of different clients at different levels, not just right now, putting me off, different excuses. And then I'm thinking in this, if we talk to a handful of people during the day, and they're all in a howdy doody kind of a text and email, I can set up a action plan for those groups, right?
Yeah,
Where we send out a set of information, whether it be a business card, email, whatever.
absolutely. I mean, so when you mentioned business card, have you heard of the electronic business cards, or like the link tree kind of links, or Beacon,
Hey,
or
I heard a link tree.
those
What
are
was it?
those are super helpful. Let me see, protection. Let me see if I can find protection for all. Not coming up. I built one in Bitly. Let me see. Bitly link shortener, bitly.com. Protection. Yeah, so well, Bitly lets you do this. Beacon also lets you do this as well. Beacon, BEA, Beacon. Here we go. Let me see if this takes you to the one. Let me sign in real quick. So Bitly does this well. Beacon does this well, but here you can kind of upload your graphics. You can have your pages. You can also create many of these little different kind of buttons if you wanted to set up kind of like a subscribe to my newsletter kind of thing for updates directly from you. You could build one of these as well. You can showcase videos that you have of your content. So when people come here to not only get in touch with you and get your information, oh, I didn't know you had a video, boom, you know. And what's great about that is, do you see this little link?
Yes.
That is close to nothing to text message to people. And
Yeah.
this is kind of like the electronic business card. So if you've heard of Popple, Popple's a service that does that. I think you can find it in Walmart. They've got cases, cards, and then when you purchase any of those, the whole little service comes, and then you can kind of build it's kind of like one of these that you can build under that link for yourself, and you can share that with people, and people can get your phone number, your information. It gets saved right to their phones. And then they also have an option to where they can send you their information as well. So now you've got people saving your info and then sharing your info with them. So now you've got a way of, oh, now I've got their phone number. Now I've got this. Now I've got that.
Hmm.
And then so building one of these, I think, is huge, because whether if it's an electronic business card or a link tree or whatever it is, this is essentially the same thing. It's just styled different and comes from a different company.
Right.
But
Yeah.
and you can, with the pro, you can most likely, with the paid version, you can hide any of their branding, and it can just be
Okay.
for you. And then that way, but I mean, I don't know. I don't have any problem with free. So, but it allows you to track if people click on stuff as well. So that's the cool thing with some of these services.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you pay a little bit more, then you get a little bit more features. But um, with this link, it helps you put this in your text message signature, and if they click that, it's like a hyperlink. It'll open up on their phone, and it'll take you to this, to where they'll be able to be like, oh, okay, I didn't know you had a YouTube page. Let me just check that out. And oh, I didn't know I could download his information straight to my phone from here. Boom.
Mhm.
Then, you know, now you've got your electronic business card to people. And that's the beautiful thing. Now you're in their phone, right?
Yeah.
So hopefully they save you as real estate agent, maybe with the town, you know, maybe
Hmm.
that way that they know that this is the state that you work in, that kind of thing. And maybe
Yeah.
through some of the touches that they see, they catch a video. Oh, I didn't know somebody could use, and then now they know that they have your contact in your phone, and that gets the ball rolling. And if you've made it real easy for them
Yeah.
to subscribe, to be involved, and to, you know, save your info, that is that's the bee's knees. And so you can copy this, and I guess you can kind of see what it looks like when you email it to people and when people open it up. And this will look sized perfectly to somebody's phone.
Oh,
And
yeah.
and so definitely something to think about and build, you know, but utilize as well. You know what I mean? And like you said to yourself, build a plan. I mean, if you're going to try to do a consistent average, and you know that it takes well over a couple hundred contacts to be engaging for you to get consistent deals, right? One, you're also going to have to build that list into more people that you've met, more people that you've put your that you've been able to either do an 8x8 with, or family and
Yeah.
friends. But that list has to grow some shape or form. And as that grows, and as you keep on staying consistent from what you've built as a plan,
Yeah.
um, you're going to start seeing more consistent deals come in, because you've obviously got a larger pool to be digging from. And if it's building and building and building, well, the number is only going to get better, right? Because let's say it takes, you know, for every 200, 300 engagements, you may get one person that that is following up with you. So
Yeah. No,
let's
that's
say,
true.
let's say you want 3 or 4 people a month. Well, that could require you to have a list of 1,500 people, 1,000 people that you're digging into. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so one has to break down those numbers and kind of know, with this lead source, for every 300 leads, I get one person to come back to me. But I mean, if it's worth it, if it's coming from social media, or if it's coming through other different adventures, or if you have access to tools that can pull names and numbers, well, then there you go. You know,
Hmm.
it's just going to require more and more and more. And then applying your process to it is going to start to put people through the meat grinder. And then hopefully, when you put your hand on the other end, you got something to make some burgers with. So,
Yes.
um, but yeah, so tell me a little bit more and about, so where are you with that? Have you decided to brainstorm kind of a plan? Have you, I would say that's the first steps, is to kind of brainstorm, you know, what are the things that you can manage? What are the things you can stay consistent on? Look towards the
Um,
program. Go ahead.
Yeah, I have. I mean, I'm kind of embarrassed that I've been in it a while and I haven't had it on, but I'm cutting away some of the things. I got too many things that I bought into. And when you do that, not one gets the attention it should have. So I'm starting to pull that back and really trying to narrow out. And then the list, I think I told you before, I had a list from a provider. We got 1,100.
Mhm.
A good percentage of them are voicemails and things like that. But I got to say, with that lead provider, there's probably 100 that are at different groupings of I'll meet you later, or I'm too busy. Like I got a nurse right now, and we've been hounding her, and finally my VA. I don't know why she has better luck getting them to answer the phone, and I listened to the conversation. She goes, I'm running to work, but still call me. So that's where I'm getting aggro. I was telling my VA, I said, we got to get this grouping correct to where we're not. This morning, we went through maybe 100 leads at different levels and contacting and doing things. And I said, we can't keep doing that because it should be more automated and more on point, like what you're talking about. If we do it hit or miss, you're going to lose them. Like we lost one this morning. He was a real grump, though. He wanted to call at a specific time, and I hurt my hand this week, and I can't use my left hand right now. So I didn't get with him at that specific time. He's an international guy, and when we called him, he said, "You were supposed to come to my house yesterday, and it's now Wednesday, and you're calling me," and he hung up. That was the end of that lead. And then we apologized with a text, and then he immediately texts back, "Don't call me no more." So, that's
Sometimes you
where,
get that one chance.
yeah,
Sometimes you get that
well,
one
I
chance with
think
people.
I think a lot. I think I told you about that other lady that tried to set an appointment for the next day, and I
Right.
was busy, but I didn't take it, and I ended up losing it. So to answer your question, yes, we're trying to tell you it's overwhelming, like what you're showing on the surface. It's really overwhelming of how do you get started. But I think if you take a baby step and grab a couple of your features here, you can expand on it.
Oh, absolutely. And that is definitely the approach, is to start small, right?
Hmm.
Because once you've mastered creating templates, creating, template messages, now you've got basis, right? You've got a base of information.
Yeah.
Now you can either start to build that um, into an action plan, or build it into your process, right? And
Yeah.
then if you digest a little bit of what I have when it comes to the 33 touch program and things like that, I hope what I've outlined helps take a lot of the brainstorming, and then you can kind of just, of these 33 things, I'm going to focus on these things and start with that. If I can then work stuff into it, that's going to be better. So if your 33 touch program is a 24 touch program, a 11 touch program, still better than nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I totally
You know what I
agree.
mean? And then
Totally.
and hopefully it keeps those people on simmer. And then it's unfortunate with those people, but we've all heard horror stories, and now the current climate is just going to get even worse with people, with
Oh, yeah.
especially when it comes to the buyers, right?
Yeah.
It's only downhill from here, unfortunately, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
So the more that you're on point, the more that you can deliver a service, a consistent service that is going to command some excellence, and then people are going to be able to get behind, you know, why they worked with you. Then they're going to really want to refer you to the family and friends, because it goes both ways. The
Mhm.
buyers are being difficult, and then there's some agents that really don't do any good justice, and they end up wasting people's times. And that's when you've got buyers saying, you know what, that guy, we should have went with that other guy. You know what I mean? He may have
Yeah.
been 1% more or 1.5% more, but I think we would already been where we needed to be by now, working with him, opposed to somebody that was just the cheapest option on the horizon. And
Yeah.
so, um, but yeah, no, I mean, definitely something to think. And right, if you ever need help with building some of that, you've got access to me. And so definitely loop me in if you need some assistance with, polishing your approach, or just what should we be focused on in the beginning, definitely loop me in. I'm always here to help,
Yeah, you are.
you know, build
Yeah.
out your process. So,
Yeah.
well, I definitely thank everybody who is here. Thank you, David. And then I thank the people watching this at home on their own time. If you also have questions, I'll leave, well, that's my information. That's my information to reach me if you wanted to give me a call or an email. And then if you guys are seeing this part of our system, I send out emails, and in my emails, you'll see that there is a book me link, that gives you access to my schedule. And if you see any openings and you'd like to take advantage of it, feel free to do so. And we're always here to help you support and build your process, and do that in conjunction with Fieldnotes CRM. So I definitely thank everybody, and you guys have a great day. It was a pleasure seeing you, David.
Thank you.
All
Like
right.
always.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye.
You guys have a great day.